right, good afternoon. It's a little bit more. This. Um, all right. Okay, I think we're ready. Welcome, everyone. If anyone is new and you have not seen this live stream before, my name is Tim. I go by Foamy Guy on GitHub and Discord. This is the Deep Dive, which is a weekly live stream that was first started by Scott Shawcroft, the lead developer of CircuitPython. Scott is out on parental leave, and I am filling in here on the Deep Dive. If you are new and haven't watched before, and you may not know Deep Dive, it's kind of a weekly stream where you get a look at whatever is kind of going on Scott or I's desk when he is around. Obviously, as lead developer, he tends to be working on really low-level, cutting-edge stuff, implementing CircuitPython for new ports and adding major new features and things like that. I do not typically work quite at that low of a level, so we are diving slightly less deep when I'm around, but we do still get into a lot of nitty-gritty code and other stuff. So if you are interested in programming in Python and microcontrollers, you are in the right spot. As always, we'll say thanks to Adafruit. Actually, let's start back here. If you are new and you don't really understand what I have been talking about thus far, this is all about CircuitPython, which is the main project that Scott is the lead developer of, and that there is a team of folks, including myself, who work on. And if you do want to learn more about it and you don't already know, you can at circuitpython.org. That's the main website for the project. This is basically a version of Python that runs on tiny computers called microcontrollers. Typically, the way this works with a lot of CircuitPython devices, you plug it into your computer with a USB cable, like a USB-C. It shows up like a thumb drive, and you can edit the code files on that drive. Today, the device that I am working with, Sparkle Motion Mini, it is like a thumb stick, a thumb drive form factor. So it's this nice long USB stick. It plugs into a standard USB port there on the end. However, unlike what I just mentioned, it does not show up as a thumb drive because this device is based on ESP32, just ESP32 plain, not an S2 or an S3. And the ESP32 on CircuitPython, or really just in general, does not support the USB stuff that CircuitPython does to make it show up as a thumb drive. So in this case, we will be modifying files in a bit of a different way. But the core idea is still the same. This little microcontroller that is on this board, in this case on the back side. Maybe we can find a nice picture of the bottom. Not really, because the case is on. Not on the bottom, actually. Maybe it's one of these. No, it must be on the bottom. I think it's like underneath this. In any case, there is a microcontroller down there, which is basically a tiny computer. When we save our Python code on this device, that tiny computer is going to interpret and execute that Python code for us. We can then, from that code, interface with whatever other hardware peripherals we have hooked up. And this device, as all of the other Sparkle Motions, as they are as well, is kind of specialized for NeoPixels. So it has these terminal blocks on the end here where we can hook up some NeoPixels, and then this can run WLED. And of course, here on this stream, we'll be working with CircuitPython. It can do CircuitPython as well in Arduino. But WLED is one of the primary focus points of this hardware, though we are going to be working CircuitPython here, obviously. What is up, Paul SK? Nice to see you over in the chat, my friend. So I first need to get this device loaded. I guess let's say, as always, thanks to Adafruit. This is a Adafruit device, the Sparkle Motion Adafruit designed hardware. If you don't know, Adafruit is a hardware and software company based out of New York. They're the ones who make CircuitPython possible by paying the team of folks who work on CircuitPython, including Scott and myself. If you would like to help support the project and Adafruit generally, one of the easiest ways is just purchase hardware from them at their website, adafruit.com. You can get Sparkle Motion Mini stick. Actually, I don't think there's a Mini in there. I think I threw that in accidentally. Mini is a different device. Sparkle Motion Mini is a separate one, a different form factor, but the Sparkle Motion stick is what I'm working with today. You can get that. You can get the other Sparkle Motions. You can get all sorts of other neat toys, microcontrollers, and other things that you can hook up to your microcontrollers to play with. So I need to get CircuitPython installed. I do have this device hooked up right here, Sparkle Motion Stick, and I have some NeoPixels plugged into the terminal block down there. And we can see the onboard NeoPixel, which it has there, is running its little rainbow right now, which is what it does in the out-of-box state, essentially, because I just unboxed this earlier, or unbagged it, really. So the first thing we need to do is actually load CircuitPython on it. I am going to get a Chrome window because we need a Chrome window to do it the way that I'm going to at least attempt to do it first. And I always kind of just go easiest first. So this open installer right here is kind of the easiest way to load up these ESP32 devices. But it is, I don't think, working in Firefox last I knew. So we will open this page in Chrome instead. Try this. Let me make sure I killed Tio back here. Yeah, I did. Okay. Received, among other stuff, Adafruit Metro RP2350 with PS RAM. And I bought that one via Pimerone Limited. Nice. Yesterday received it. Cool. Yeah, that's good to hear. That's Metro's a pretty cool one. I've been messing with the Metro a lot lately because it's got a lot of the same hardware as the upcoming Fruit Jam. So a lot of the projects I've been working on lately run on both, and I've been writing up the guides for Metro. Let's see. So we want I think we want full. This tool will do that. It's new and experimental. Okay, connect. So it is currently plugged in and connected. TTY ACM0, I'm assuming, is it. I don't have any other microcontrollers plugged in right now. That's going to override everything. Okay, no problem. Racing to flash. And we don't really have any action on the board right now. Actually, I will say the LED stopped rolling. Okay, yeah, the LED stopped rainbowing. But that's really the only action thus far visible on the board. There's no like transfer blinking or anything. Just this was rolling through the rainbow there before, obviously, and it's no longer. And so this is doing its thing. So it erased, it flashed. The next step is to write your credentials. You're going to make sure your board is running CircuitPython. If you just installed CircuitPython, you could reset the board first. Okay, so that's me. I did just reinstall CircuitPython, so I'm going to reset. I assume the one button that is populated through the case there is reset. Oh, right. Obviously, it's not going to show up there because it's ESP32. It's already connected, so yeah, let's try this again. Connect. Now, it is, yeah, gonna be Wi-Fi stuff here, so let me jump over here real fast and fill that in. Going, or... Unable to read settings, CircuitPython, it may not exist. Oh. Does this didn't put, well, I don't know, let's be safe, maybe. I'm gonna say this didn't log anything important, did it? I was gonna drag the logs in. You see what I'm looking at, but it does appear now that it's done, successfully completed. So we can close that. And next, I think we could try web workflow, because if that worked, then this thing should hop on the network. What is up, Mark Gambler? Nice to see you, my friend. Hope you're having a nice day. Now we do have something different here. We have white, which is usually REPL. Another thing we could do is we could go to TO here and see if it's in CircuitPython. It does not look like it, though. There is ACM0, but if I go into it and press Control-C, it's not doing anything, so it's not CircuitPython. Why is this not letting me quit? Oh, Control-T. There it is. Okay. Okay, let's try the web. Try web IDE. Or web editor, I mean. So if we just go maybe... Let's see if it solves. I mean, I don't think we're in CircuitPython, right? Maybe we need to reboot. Usually white on the NeoPixel means it's in REPL. But if we were actually in the REPL, then we presumably would be able to connect over serial. But this totally did say, like, system update complete. I'm just going to reset again. Maybe it leaves it in bootloader or something. Does not seem to do anything. Let's make sure that's a reset button and not a boot button or something else. Really, that's reset, right? Oh, that's number 0. Is maybe not reset. Did I put this on backwards? Is there a reset button? Button 0 usually is the boot button, but is not the reset button. There is no button on the back. Interesting. Okay. Well, in my case, I have it plugged into a hub, and I can just reboot it by essentially unplugging it and replugging it. In my case, the hub has got some nifty buttons that I can use to do that. Okay, yeah, now we're looking like CircuitPython. So that is the standard yellow, green, all is happy in CircuitPython boot up land. And in fact, we are connected. Sparkle Motion Stick. 10005 Alpha. Create an issue today on the Raspberry Pi Pico by Phil Hauer to get PS RAM for the Metro. Oh, is that didn't have the RAM in the Arduino core then, it sounds like. Immediately create a PR that's not, wow, nice. Now you can select the amount of PS RAM that it has in the tool. Oh wow, that's pretty sweet. You can just set it up there. Yeah, that's actually really cool. Yeah, I did a little bit with Arduino on the Metro back when I was working on the guide, but at that time it was actually before the PS RAM Metro, so I didn't do any real PS RAM stuff in Arduino. And then by the time that I had gotten the Metro with the PS RAM, I had moved on to mostly doing all CircuitPython stuff, where the PS RAM did come in handy a lot because I was using some pretty big media assets and things, bitmaps and stuff like that. Okay, so we are in CircuitPython. Let's try this again. We could see if that's going to load up. Sometimes for me that doesn't work, and in fact, I think if... well, actually, this terminal sometimes doesn't show me the header or whatever. Okay, so that says Wi-Fi off. So there is a settings toggle. I am going to try to read it off of the screen real fast and see if there's anything saved in it. Really interested in what you try right now with the Sparkle Motion because I installed CircuitPython on my watch, TTGo Watch V3, and it's ESP32 old, but it's less easy to use than the drive. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, the ESP32s, really nice hardware, but they are, you gotta jump through the extra hoops of not having the USB. So the web installer is good here inside Chrome. And then after, if that's not working, or for whatever reason, if you need to not use Chrome or something like that, then like, well, if you can't use Chrome, then the next thing I would suggest is also probably not going to work. The ESP tool, the web ESP tool can also flash the bin for you, but that has the same limitation of Chrome. Really, the next thing to try if you are unable to use one of the web ones is the actual ESP tool, the Python command line script, which gets hairier. Okay, yeah, I'm going to read this real fast off screen. So let's go open. Well, I guess I could do os.getinf. Oh, that's all right. Let me just read it. All right, that has nothing in it. So that's gonna be part of the problem. Hear that? All right, maybe we'll keep this. I'm not sure if we'll need that. Let's go. The other thing we can do though is I can actually still use the web editor. We can use code.circuitpython.org. And we can use the USB workflow. So once you have CircuitPython loaded, then you can use this USB workflow, which makes it work a bit more like a regular CircuitPython device. However, you can only kind of open files and do stuff in here, right? Like it's still not connected to my computer this way, obviously. But this does give you the interface here where you can just go like open, and it's going to show you a list of files. That is at 0, so I'm going to open it, and then I can write stuff into here, which I'm going to do off screen. And I'm also going to take this one off screen because I want to copy settings tunnel from something else. I have only one Sparkle Motion backup. Interesting. Save this, and then I will open a different file. There we go. Let me just clear this also in case I don't know for sure if that puts the file contents. Okay, here we are. So we have a blank. We had a blank CodePy until I accidentally closed the window. That was cool. Until was gone. Actually, maybe we can get this back with this thing. The recent windows in this one? 2 tabs, I guess. Now click settings, Tommel. Okay, there we go. Oh, I could, yeah, that's true. I could write them with Python code. That's true. All right, I am gonna reset it again, actually, now that I just reconnected and did everything again. I'm gonna reset it again, actually, because it should have the web workflow now, I think. See, yep, there we go. So that comes up now, and we should be able to go like this. CPYE? That's kind of a weird host name. ESP, maybe? Stick. I don't. Oh, okay. I was gonna say it does not necessarily seem like it's working. I'm pretty sure this hides, right? Like if I type hello, yeah. Okay, there we go. So now we have web workflow, same exact interface, but now we are going through the Wi-Fi rather than through the USB connection like we were doing there. So that one's using USB serial. This one is using Wi-Fi. And we are still back to the code file. You could try BLE. I don't know for sure, actually. Off the top of my head, I do not know if ESP32 supports BLE workflow or not. And then the other hurdle in my case is I don't have like the app or anything set up to actually use the BLE workflow. Okay. So the first thing I can basically start with, so we're getting started with the guide for this device, and I'm going to be working on the CircuitPython pages. So we are going to start looking at the examples from the other Sparkle Motion and getting these tested and laid out and ready to go for the new Sparkle Motion stick. Does it have an onboard LED? Actually, that is a good question. I do not know if it has an onboard LED. Let's go to the console. Import OS, import board. I don't know why I got OS. I don't need that. Dir board. Do we have LED? Yes. Okay, so I'm not sure exactly where it's at, but it looks like there is an onboard LED, and that's just a standard LED, not an RGB, not a NeoPixel. Okay, so then this code, this code should be able to run here. It's going to get board LED, and it's going to do a little bit of blinky blink. So I'm going to save that and go back to here. We are sitting in the REPL right now. Web workflow, this one I could actually do from Firefox, I think. Okay, so that's going to run. Yep, there we go. We got blinks going there. Was able to command via BLE from the phone. Yeah, I don't have the app set up is all. On my phone, I don't have any of the BLE, what is it, file transfer glider, is it? If you could show how to upload MPY files, you don't need some libraries that are not built in. Or don't you need some libraries that are not built in? Yeah, we will here in just a minute. So Blink doesn't, but let's go to the next one. Digital input. Actually, this one doesn't either, but we'll test it out real fast while I'm here. And then I will load some libraries. Yeah, I'll show you a couple of ways to load libraries. The easiest way in my mind is Circup, actually. But Circup is really best only if you have the web workflow running already. So if you've already got your settings toml and everything, then you can use Circup through the web workflow. So I'll show that, but I'll also show you another way to do it if that is not set up yet for you. But we will do, I'm going to do this one real fast first. So this is digital input and output. So I don't expect this to really be any great revelation or anything, but we just want to make sure that works now. Okay, so when I press the button, the LED comes on. Super cool. Next one is analog input. I don't have the hardware ready to go for that, so we're going to skip that right now. Built-in NeoPixel. Oops. So this one should require the NeoPixel library. Now we will find out if it is frozen or not. So I will save this and boom. Okay, so that errored out, says import error, no module, NeoPixel, because we do not have the NeoPixel library. If we were to go open lib, we can see empty list, no NeoPixel inside there. So we need to get the NeoPixel library installed. There are a few ways you can do that. I think easiest is Circup. Again, if you have the web workflow already set up, then you can go, let's see, what is it? I'm going to do help so I can figure it out. I think we need host, right? Host. So mine is on port 80, which is default. We don't need to specify that. We need host and password, and then we can use Circup commands like normal. So I'll say Circup host is this. I usually use the IP, but let's see if this works. I don't actually know. I also don't know if you need, I don't think you need the HTTP. I'm pretty sure you don't need that. And in fact, I guess I would say I'm somewhat sure that would break it. I suspect we won't need that slash either. So let's try host like that. Password, in my case, super secure. I did not give it a command, so we need to actually install NeoPixel. All right, there it goes. So it found the device. It's going to download the bundles. and it does do MPY by default. So we can see here now the code is running and it is working, and we have this now cycling RGB. And if we go and look in the directory, we now have pixel buff and MPY. But let me show you, like, if you didn't have circup or you don't have web workflow yet, I'll show you how you can get them onto there anyway. So we will delete these. I'll delete pixel buff. I'll delete NeoPixel. Close this for now. This went back to not working because those are gone. And so if you wanted to do this kind of more manually, you could go grab your library bundle, 10.x, MPY, or you could get Python if you wanted that as well. Extract. We're going to get NeoPixel and Pixel Buff. Both of those are required. And those are both MPY files. I think NeoPixel is right there. I'm actually going to make a new folder to keep them somewhere together. So ultimately we have a place to look where they're both at right next to each other with no other files. Pixel buff, that's the other one we need. Right, so neopixel.mpy, pixel buff, and then back in our web Python code editor here, we can just go to, it's actually under open, which is a bit of a misnomer in this case. So open, and then there's upload to current folder. Our current folder is lib. I'll go back one though and just explicitly click into lib. For in lib, upload to current folder, we can do this, upload files. And I think we can choose both even. So I'll select both of those, open, boom, boom, both uploaded. Close this, that's now running. And back to here, that is also running RGB. That hardware has one function, but the most useful library is missing. Yeah, it's not missing. It's not frozen in, but it's not missing. I mean, in my mind, like any device where there's enough storage, like I actually prefer to have the libraries not frozen in instead of frozen in. Frozen is nice on the ones where the flash, like storage part of the partition, the Circuit Pi drive, is tiny. But if it's nice and big, which I actually have no idea how big this one is, but if it's nice and big, I find not having them frozen in is nice, because I will say also my use case though is like maybe not what most people, but I find it nice to have them not frozen in, because it means if I'm like trying to check a PR, or I'm trying to test some code, or I'm trying to like run something that someone is saying is having trouble with in Discord or whatever, right? I want to make sure I'm always like editing the live copy of the library or whatever. If I'm trying to add print statements, or I'm trying to fix a bug, or I'm trying to test a certain part of the code, when it's frozen in, sometimes it trips me up because I'll like be editing code in the lib folder and running it, and then it's like not working or whatever. It's not that it's not working, it's that the copy of the library I'm editing is not the one that it's using because it's frozen in. You should be able to use circup host and then install A. That's totally true. Yeah, you definitely can. You'll need a password as well for web workflow, but you can do -A and then it will check and it will get you all the libraries that you need. That's true. Yeah, maybe I think there might be. Is there a LED animation one? Maybe we'll grab next. What's next? Pixel. There's not an animation one, but we could go and get one. Well, actually, is this? Maybe this is using LED animation. Oh, it totally is. Okay. Yeah. So this one is going to require another library. So let's copy the code for that. We're also going to need to change the pins here. And I only have a single one of these hooked up. So we'll edit the code for now to just do a single one. Let's see. Oh, what's up, Tyeth? Nice to see you, my friend. Hail. Is there a policy on keeping the board builds light? I assumed if onboard components, then NeoPixel should be included in the board, but not dot stars, although it's useful. Yeah, I don't know if there is like an official policy, but my inclination, or I guess what's most convenient for me personally, which is like not necessarily how it should be decided, obviously, but like what's most convenient for me is not frozen. But it does make sense actually for most people. Like if you are just using it, it does probably make sense to have it for most people. Although I will say too, like the primary mode of these devices is WLED, right? WLED is listed before CircuitPython. I think the majority of people are buying them to use with WLED or the other one, X Lights, I think is a like professional stage setup or theater thing or whatever. Those are kind of the primary market for the Sparkle Motion. And so CircuitPython, it works, you can totally use it, but I do believe that it's likely that there are far less people using that compared to like WLED and stuff. I'm going to put, well, we'll leave it at that, I guess. We only have one of these, so I'm going to take out one of them. And it's on the pin that's next to ground. I don't have the pin out handy. You can see it from this picture. 21. Oops, I keep going to PyCharm instinctively. The unofficial policy is kind of only freeze libraries on boards that are tied in RAM, like the Matrix Portal libraries. Yeah, root folder, so that's what you can do to not get got by that thing I was talking about before, where you're editing a library, it's not working. If you put your library in the root folder, then it takes precedent over the lib folder, and it takes precedent over frozen. I like having Python. Yep, totally, I'm with you there as well. I do typically like the Python ones more frequently, because I can go and add print statements super easily, which I find myself doing a fair amount. D21, I think we said, right? It is 8 pixels, so we're going to set up... We don't need 2 strips because there is only one plugged in. We can set up 2 animations and just only call one of them, or ultimately we could put them in a animation group, but I'll start by just doing this. Okay, so I'll save this. It is gonna crash because we don't have LED animation. And indeed, as was mentioned in the chat there, VP Tech Ops, thanks for mentioning that. Also, welcome to the stream. Nice to see you, my friend. We can get that to do auto. So if we say in circup host password install -- auto or just -a, they both do the same thing. It will read the CodePy, it will parse all the imports from there, and it will then go and circup install all of those. So this time it found that LED animation is required by CodePy, and so it went and downloaded that and installed it, or I guess it took it out of the bundle. All right, there we go. Commit action, and that's actually our first test of these pins as well, so that's good. Those are working. I will switch it real fast to the other one. Sure, I mean, I don't see any reason why that would not work, but completeness sake, I'll do that. I can unzoom there. Like the Trinket M0 would have space even for frozen libs, though it could benefit from .star to save RAM when using its status LED. That's true, yeah. And as a new user, you can read the code with the Python versions. Oh, that's a good point too. Yeah, totally. It's much easier to figure out how something works with the Python code. So if you're like, you know, how does this PyPortal, like what is happening in the PyPortal library when I call fetch? If you have Python ones, you can figure that out much easier. Although if that's your actual answer, you will have a bit of digging because it's all portal based. You gotta go through some of the layers. So far, it's been mostly the big libraries. get frozen, I think. Almost need a bunch of checkbox options. I have thought about, actually, I think it would be really sweet to have a build tool that makes it easy to choose your own frozen modules. I do think that would be really cool. We have the thing on GitHub where like GitHub Actions can make a build for you. Technically, I guess you could use that. But like an easier interface, I do think would be cool, where you could just like check, or choosing from a drop down or whatever, right? I think that would be pretty sweet. It gets weird, like it's maybe hard to, it's like an increase in the support burden when we have all these different versions of CircuitPython running around, and like this person built one with these libraries frozen in, like that means it's going to behave in this certain way. And if the libraries are frozen in, they're harder to update. So, but I mean, your core CircuitPython's harder to update as well, because if you wanted to update it, you'd have to build a new one with your frozen stuff. It creates a bit of a kind of support complexity thing, especially if someone who doesn't fully grasp what all is actually going on to freeze those things in there is trying to use it. That's the one kind of drawback I can see to it, but it is like, I do think it'd be cool. Yeah, a front end for it. Just any kind of interface that's like relatively easy with choose the ones you want. Either with checkboxes, like you said, or a little list, left, like the little left and right lists or whatever. Okay, that is working good. We got LED animation going. What else is in here? There is I2C scan. I don't know, does this, this might not have a stemma. I don't think it has a stemma. Be over there, but we are back to the same problem. There's no upside down. Well, if nothing else, I mean, there's no hole for the stemma. Yeah, there is no stemma. Okay, we won't do that. The microcontroller is totally on the bottom. You can maybe see that over here now. Earlier I was some rave action there. ESP32 there on the bottom side. But no stemma, so we won't do I2C. And in fact, we could probably see that from board as well. See, you can tell, like, I'm a PyCharm. How many times have I clicked? Maybe I should just close it. Import board. Let's do this one again, because we should have no like I2C and stuff here. Yeah, okay. So there is IR though. We can give that a try. It is listed as boot. I think all of those are the same. Actually, there's no IR on this one. We could do Wi-Fi test. That scared me for a minute, because I was like, oh my god, I just showed my settings, but that's obviously not my settings. It's time for some new tunes. You already have too many firmwares with the different languages. Yeah, that's a good point. With the languages, also does add a bunch of firmwares. When there's an exception in a library, I go to the GitHub page for the library. I read the matching line rather than install the Pi version. Yeah, it's true. I find myself on GitHub a lot as well. Fortunately, Circuit fixes all the missing modules after update. Alright. Strive for less, not more. Yeah. I can see both sides. I can see both sides. Like, less is better for some things, like the support I was talking about gets more complex the more you have, certainly. But I can see upsides to the more also. It's just kind of it depends on the user and the use case. For some people, having the kind of custom build is super handy for various reasons. For other people, it's like more of a burden than a help, if they don't necessarily know what all it's doing or what's going wrong with it, or that it requires updating differently or whatever, right? Alright, that should probably be fine. I don't think, yeah, there's nothing really we need there library-wise, so we should be able to do that. Alright, basic test, got a Mac, we got a ping. All good. Adafruit IO. Could test this one, although I don't have, yeah, maybe I'm gonna skip this one for right now, because I really don't have, well, do I? Let's check if I do, actually. Let's see if I do. Let's do this, but I think, yeah, io.adafruit.com is what I was trying to remember. So let's see. What is the basic plan? I should put in my card. I got a card in one of the Ada boxes. Actually, maybe that's what we need. I think this might actually be what we need. Lucky for me, I haven't undone it yet. So if I quickly scan this and try to remember what it does. Oh, I'm gonna need to. Is it in there? I don't know if these are in there. I might need to check on these. Well, it'll fail if they're not. So what is this? It's gonna go to random. So it's gonna publish to random a number. I guess is maybe gonna show up there. I'm not sure. What's this? Random. Okay. So I assume the numbers will show up there, and then the color we can set. I just clicked on that again. And then the color we can set on the web side, and it will change the NeoPixel for us. Okay, yeah. Okay, let's try this. Copy this. All right, let's see if that just... Okay, so it does have more libraries we need. I find frozen image support more complex. Would be lovely if if it could be on the file system partition in lib as MPY instead of frozen to the core. Yeah, that would be cool if you could do the build, but it would somehow like push them to the visible side. That would be interesting. Was there a way to take a UF2 and add something, have an additional file system? I'm not sure. So UF2, I don't know hardly anything about. Scott was talking about some UF2 stuff with me recently for Fruit Jam as well, like trying to be able to take the Fruit Jam bundles with all the apps and potentially get those into a UF2 that you could just copy the whole thing, and it would kind of like flash your device, storage and all. So it would erase whatever was there. You would only want to do this like when you first got it, or if you're okay with wiping stuff. He was talking about a way to do that. I'm not up on UF2 though. I don't know exactly what all it can do, nor do I know how to do anything like that. Depends, but not really. On RP2, you can dump the entire flash into a UF2. But on ESP32, Tiny UF2 doesn't allow writing data to the drive partition. All right, so we need these things, actually. In fact, we could just rerun that same thing from here, because that has -A. It's going to find all of the imports we need, like Adafruit IO, Mini MQTT, Action Manager, ticks. Sorry if that was loud. Okay, failed to get or send. It says it's going to hard reset in 30 seconds. I bet you that I don't have these things filled in. We can test that like this. It should only print foamy guy. You know what? I'm going to drag it off anyway. It should be safe, but what if I accidentally put my password in there or something? No, okay. So it printed nothing, which means I don't have AIO username and password set up, which means I need to do that, which means I do need to go back to not on the screen. So I'm about to open, about to go up, and we want to open settings toml. Obviously, I don't want to do it on the screen, though. I'm going to open this. Ah, yeah, okay, that's the other stuff. The other stuff that was in there was web API and password. Sadly, I cannot go back and forth between the code and the settings toml very easily, so I'll copy from here. And at this point, I do actually want to go back to PyCharm, and I will need to find a different settings toml. This one does not have the stuff I need. There we go. That should work. Let's close that in case I accidentally put it on the screen. You can just overwrite both of those and take out the comments and save that, and then get back out of this file. It's more interesting way to do it without hardware, like in GitHub Actions. Yeah. I don't know if it can. I think UF2, it will always, if it touches the storage, I think it will wipe, but I'm not sure. I don't know that it can just add to. But yeah, like I said before, is like I don't actually know that much about UF2, truthfully. So we can rerun. I think Control D should go. We still got the same thing though. Failed to connect. All right, let's make sure this works now. Maybe failed to connect would not be the error that we got. That's not working. Okay, so maybe it only reads those at the beginning. We might need to like we might need to reset here. So I'm actually just gonna disconnect, unplug, replug, connect, Wi-Fi, close. Still getting the same thing. Did I not save that? I see. I see. Okay. 1 second. So my keys are slightly different. I did not have the word Adafruit in front. I started with AIO. All right, save that. Back to here. Okay, it is live actually though, so I can do that and it shows up, which means we should just be able to run it. There we go. Okay, so connecting, listening to change, sent a random number. Go find our dashboard here. There we go. Boom, random number showed up. And then we can choose a color and the onboard should change with us, I think. What is that? Tab groups, less clutter, more focus. How is that less clutter? It's the same size. It's bigger because now there's another thing. Am I crazy? That seems... I mean, I guess it keeps them together? I don't know how that's less clutter, really. Anyway, neither here nor there. We need to get out of editing. Let's save this. This. More of a blues guy myself. That. Save. Boom. Got some nice teal action there. All right, there we go. Green. I don't know why this, I think maybe... That's kind of interesting that the save is like halfway gone there. Also, there's a tooltip that's popping up when I hover save, which makes it harder to click. Let me just refresh this. It's still like that. Interesting. Is this because it's narrow? Yeah, it does not like to be narrow for some reason. Weird. All right. The debugger in me must get to the bottom of this. Well, maybe not the bottom, but we must get slightly closer to the bottom. Oh, there it is. Yeah, so the breakpoint there hides those. Honestly, though, like I have like ad block, I have dark mode, I have aftermarket stuff that's messing with the CSS, so it's possible something on my end broke it. I think you just crash. Oh, really? That's too bright. It's too close to white. Actually, I don't even think that was showing me the right color, right? Like, it showed red, but it had like FC. Would have been really close to white. I think the preview there on the color was wrong. Anyway, now I changed it. Good dog, I heard you like tabs, so I put tabs in your tabs. Yeah, I have a yeah. I will freely admit I have a tabs. I have a slight tabs problem. Lately, I've been launching a new browser window each day. So then, like, I build up tabs throughout the day, but I close them at night. which is good. But like my main browser hidden over there somewhere has got, I don't know, probably 30 or 40 tabs at least. At least. Let's see. Okay, so let me catch up. Let me catch up here on the chat. Right, should be maybe technically possible to do files in the UF2. My web version, which now supports embedded ESP tool.js. Oh, interesting. All right, this doesn't let me copy the. Doesn't let me copy the link. Ah, that is so. Yeah, probably that just messed up the chat. Yeah, there we go. Sorry. Thing for whatever reason, like Discord in all their wisdom decided that right-click copy link just doesn't need to exist inside the web version of Discord, but like they're mistaken. That's just how the internet works. I don't see a reason to change it, but they did. So this is like a new version of Web Serial, like a web ESP tool. Nice. Interesting. Okay, so it has like a bunch of extra stuff listed out as well. That's cool. I didn't know this existed. It's pretty sweet. Thank you for making that, if you made it, and sharing it in the chat. You can't add to a drive with UF2. That would require knowing what's already there. So, okay, yeah, it makes sense. If you know what's already there, then you can kind of add to it by like rewriting the whole thing, but including the part that you knew was there. Gotta try that tab stuff. What I wanted, editing secrets without booting the device, assuming broken code. Bad FS, little fs. Nerve cursively put tabs into tabs into tabs. Refresh after making it narrow. Let me try that. Did I try that? I don't remember if I tried that. Maybe let's try. So one thing I don't know if I tried was make it narrow, refresh without the selector open. I think I had the selector open. That might have been it, actually. So cancel. Let me cancel this and just refresh. No, it does that. So basically, there's one in the middle. There's a breakpoint in the middle. There's a breakpoint in the middle where it's like that, and then once it gets small enough, it actually goes down and works. Interesting. Okay. But that is slowly working. We have our random numbers. We have our colors. We have about 9 minutes left. Reminder, for anyone who hasn't caught the last couple of weeks, we're doing 1 hour deep dives. If you like coding and debugging and this kind of thing, and you want a longer stream, then you can come back tomorrow morning, 10 a.m. Central Time. I'll be back over my own channel. In the same Discord, we'll be working on some more CircuitPython stuff. But we will wrap up here in about 10 minutes. If anyone has any other questions, comments, ideas to share, anything they want to add in the chat, now's the time. Let's see. By chance, does anybody know or have the watch code? Have watch code that I can use to play with my LilyGo watch? I don't want to reinvent the watch. Any playground learn guide or else? Does it not need to be for the watch specifically? But it needs to be CircuitPython. So it does not help you necessarily, unfortunately. I know Scott has watch code because he was using the Bangle.js, I think. Bangle.js, is that a watch? If that's a watch, I'm pretty sure Scott was using it for a while. If that's not a watch, then I have the name wrong. Forgive me. There's like a NRF 52840 based watch that Scott was using, and I think he wrote like a little watch program. I don't know what all it does, but I don't know if he shared it. To the best of my knowledge, it's not published anywhere. And he's not exactly around to ask, so that doesn't help you all the way. The clock code that I can think of off the top of my head is flip clock. I think there's a clock example in there. I'm pretty sure. CircuitPython flip clock. Flip. Oh boy. Okay, that's not what we wanted. I think there is a example in this repo. Did I do a clock on the round display? Or only a compass? I did a clock on... Did I do a clock on... Now I'm second guessing. Did I do a clock on the round display? Compass. Oh, I did the Disney clock. That's right. Did do a clock, but it... Yeah. I think there might be... Oh, clock face. That's what it's called. So there's display IO flip clock. I'm pretty sure NTP test right here is basically going to hit an NTP server and then use the flip clock to show you what time it is. So that is a thing you could potentially run. The other one is display IO clock face, which is a newer one that went with that round, or excuse me, analog clock. That's the right name. Analog clock. Clock face was wrong. This one has analog clock simple test. Nope, that's wrong. Analog. I must not have published that example, or else it's in the Learn Guide repo. Yeah, either it didn't get published or it's in the Learn Guide repo. My bad on that. Like in the Learn Guide repo, but it doesn't look like it was in the actual Learn Guide, though. I've lost the tab. But yeah, flip clock is the one that I know of, or you could take the cartoon, the not, you know, the 20th century, 19th century, whatever, the cartoon that's not owned by any particular massive cartoon company conglomerates anymore because it entered public domain. I had the T-Watch 2020 with a watch face on it. Let me check. And a retired wizard and Bill Sedaris. Some watch code, nice. I thought, let me look at one thing actually here over in the other Learn Guide. It's this one. I thought there was, oh, I think I need Sparkle Motion Big, maybe. I think Sparkle Motion Mini doesn't have the IR thing. Yeah, here we go. All right, this one we'll want to do as well. I don't have everything we need to try this. I don't have the remote all set up necessarily. I have the remote, but I think the battery is dead. I gotta dig out some new batteries. Theoretically, though, is this board? Is it board IR also? Hopefully, that's the same. I mean, surely that's the same, right? I don't know why I keep importing. Oh, for some reason in my head, dir is like connected to OS, even though that is just not a thing. I'm like, want to run dir, have to import. It's actually RX. Interesting. I wonder if we would want to make that match. It might be worth changing before it lives for too long to make it match this one. Assuming this one is this way. Let's go look at that actually real fast. And then I'll probably wrap it up after that. Uno, get a simple clock. Nice. Okay, so you got a couple people who dropped some clocks for you. Nice. Now that I look at it, it looks like the hands are not synced with the time. Might have to fix the code. I will say the cartoon clock one on Learn, that one's more like an alarm clock. It does count time, but it has alarms that you can set where it will ring, or it will like play a tune. But I mean, you can cut that part of the code out easily as well. I don't know. I can't say, like, I did not test it day over day over day. I don't know if it will drift or how far it will drift. It should hit NTP. If you're going to use it as a watch, it might be good to add microcontroller reset. I'm going to open both mini and regular stick. The mini. What? I love it when there's just phantom stuff found on web pages. This just says 7 of 7, but like there's nothing highlighted. Oh, I don't need to be looking at the mini though because it doesn't have IR. Being silly. Okay, that does just have IR, and then this has IR RX. This doesn't even have that. Oh yeah, it does. IR RX. Okay. We should probably make those match. Even the mini has in our output just unpopulated. Oh, interesting. I didn't know that. The IR input though. But yeah, I didn't know if there was a. I didn't know that there was unpopulated there. Remember that for hard reports. Nice. I'm just an NTP client. My code has a feature where if you hold the button for 2 seconds, it switches between low and high. Oh, that's nice. Good for like if you're going outside and stuff. Create a channel to join the chat. Oh no. Are we like not in the YouTube chat? Have I had a fake YouTube chat visible this whole time? Okay, it doesn't look like anyone has actually said anything in the YouTube chat though. I'm not entirely sure if it would show up here or not. It's got a weird thing. It's different than it normally does, but I went to a different window and there's nothing else still in there. Okay, IRRX, we might want to switch that. And the IR example is the next one that I will end up testing when I get back to this on Monday, most likely. Thank you to everyone for hanging out. Thanks to all the folks in the chat. We had lots of good stuff going on in the chat. Thank you to everyone who dropped some watch code for David Glauda. Thank you to everyone else who dropped all the knowledge and questions and all the stuff we had. Been here a while, nothing to see. Okay, so yeah, YouTube chat it looks weird on my end for the part that's like below the screen, but it was actually showing chats. Just 1 2 1 2. That tells me about how long the delay is as well. All right, yes, thank you to everyone for watching. I hope you all have a fantastic Friday night or whatever time of the day it is for you. Like I said a bit before, I'll be back on tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Central Time. If you would like some more CircuitPython stuff, that is where you can get it. I will be back next week for the deep dive as well, the same time we were here today. So 4 p.m. Well, 4 p.m. Central Time, that's my time zone, which is how I think of it. But Deep Dive is more typically billed as 11... Oh, that's wrong. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. 2 p.m. Pacific, 5 p.m. Eastern. Fridays, that's the Deep Dive. We'll be back next week for some more of it. And until then, I will bid you farewell. Thank you for hanging out, and I will see you later.